So everyone, if you don't mind to put your feet firmly on the ground, so you might have to sit a little bit from back from behind. We're going to get rooted into this moment, into this next hour where we set this new moon intentions for our new moon in Gemini. Breathing in the moments that's happening right now and breathing out everything that does not matter right now. And thank you all for grounding with me as we move into today. I wanted to just talk about what a new moon is, just briefly. The new moon is when it's barely visible in our night sky. You know, we have the full moon, it illuminates the whole night sky, and that new moon, we can barely see it. It's still there, but the Earth and the moon are aligned, and the sun and Earth are on opposite, where the sun and moon are aligned, and the sun and Earth are on opposite sides of the moon. So if I read this, the sun is over here, the moon is in between, and the Earth is here. So that is why we don't see the moon. The backside of the moon is illuminated right now, but we never see the backside of our moon from where we are on Earth. So the sun over here on one side, moon in the middle, Earth on the other. And from where we're standing on Earth right now, if you look up at the night sky, the moon is moving through the zodiac of Gemini. Here is our new moon chart. This was June 14th, 10:53 p.m. at Washington, D.C. is where I set it for because we're all over the place. So I just set it for the capital of the United States. So here we have the new moon and sun. So you can see this is a new moon because the moon and sun are both sitting together at 24 degrees, 3 minutes of Gemini. If you've never seen anything like this before and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I looking at? Here is a astrological wheel. We're basically taking the entire night sky and putting it on a 2D map. So everything that's happening, where all the planets are now on this 2D graph here. And this is our world. So we could not see the moon and sun last night when this happened. Like I said, the energy is still here, and we are going to talk about what it means for everybody individually. Also helping to what collective energy is kind of around. So, like I said, it was at 24 degrees, 3 minutes. This is a call for change, spontaneity, a time for thinking, sharing feelings. Gemini is a very social sign. It's a mutable air sign. So that means that it's really wanting to adapt. It's looking for intelligence, sociability, but it's very good at understanding change. So if you're going through a lot of changes right now, or you're getting ready to set some intentions for some changes, mutable air is a great time for that because that mutable energy is going to allow you to kind of sit where you need to sit. It is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is all about communication, and we are in that current Mercury shadow period right before it goes retrograde. So that shadow period becomes a little bit more important during this time. Some new moon themes overarching. This is for the whole collective. So if some of these fit and some of these don't, take what works and leave what doesn't. This is about new conversations, fresh perspectives. You could have some mental breakthroughs happening right now, some learning opportunities. There is also some community connections happening because it's a very social sign. You might be more apt to talk to others and connect in community. We're doing that right now on this Monday, the Monday morning. And speaking your truth. Gemini's sister sign is Sagittarius, and Sagittarius is all about speaking your truth. So you might be pulling in some of that sister sign from across the zodiac during this new moon as well. I want to talk a little bit more about the shadow period as we move into everything else that we're doing. So Mercury, Gemini's ruler, is in Cancer currently. It's in shadow. So Mercury in Cancer is going to behave a lot differently than if it was also in Gemini. Mercury in Cancer is in a water sign, so you're putting this very social thing through water. So with the moon and with the water sign, we might be feeling a little bit more emotional about some things or having the chance to have emotional vulnerability during this time. If you're looking to heal through some emotional things or start some new intentions while you're healing through the emotions, this is actually going to be a big help for you. Uh, I know in pop astrology out there, when you hear Mercury retrograde, I think it's one of the most common things people talk about. It is not as scary of a time as some people like to make it out to be. Yes, you have to be more careful about communicating your technology. If you're traveling, you might have delays in travel. But overall, it's not something to be scared of. We have them about 4 times a year. And if we're scared every time Mercury retrograde comes along, I think that that's just a large portion of our year that we're kind of having that fear. And so working with shadow periods, retrogrades, I think is a lot better than letting the astrology or the universe rule us and our lives. That's why we're learning and trying to grow and set these intentions because we want to be in charge of our own lives. The shadow period is a section of the zodiac where Mercury will eventually retrace during its upcoming retrograde. So right now, where Mercury is going to be the period of the zodiac where Mercury comes back. It doesn't actually move backwards. No planets actually move backwards, but from the appearance of Earth, it slows down enough that it looks like it is traveling backwards in our solar system. So that's where the retrograde kind of comes from. So talking a little bit more about some themes when you're thinking about Mercury shadow period on top of it, thinking about that Cancer sign with an air sign. Um, what does that mean? What are we kind of thinking about here? Conversations may reveal themes that become important in July and August. So after this retrograde period, you might find that things that you're talking about now are going to come back. Retrogrades bring things back. They bring things from the past back to the light. So you might even be having conversations with people from past in your life, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's wild. How are that? I haven't talked to that person in 15 years now. All of a sudden they're reaching out to me. That's um pay attention to these conversations because they might become important next month and later this summer in August. Uh, your new ideas that you're kind of setting during this time, the new moon, is great for new intentions, but these new ideas may need revision before completion. That retrograde, that shadow period is just asking for a little bit more, to be a little bit more careful when you're setting these intentions because the plan might have more steps than originally intended. Just might need a little bit of revision. Information is still unfolding. We're not quite in that retrograde yet, and so we don't have all the information that we need. The new moon phase is here. We're in it, but we have the entire rest of this moon phase this month to go where that moon is building in our night sky. And so information might still be unfolding and it might be a little slower than other moon phases, but I think it's still perfectly okay to set intentions during this time. I don't think it's something that you're like, oh no, I don't have to, I have to wait until next month when this isn't going on. I definitely think that you can do it now and it's okay. We're all doing it together today. Um, Pay attention to reoccurring thoughts, people, invitations, opportunities. Gemini is very social, like I said. It wants to bring people together, and that Mercury is going to do that as well. And so, paying attention to what's coming into your life right now. We can set intentions that have absolutely nothing to do with our current situation. We are all allowed to dream. We are all allowed to create an intention wherever we would like it. But sometimes working with what's already happening is also really good. So if some thoughts are kind of playing in your head, start getting those ideas kind of flowing while we start talking about your individual signs and what's kind of going on to help really narrow in what intentions you are setting today. So maybe they need less revision, or maybe they will happen this month rather than having to wait 6 months and reset intentions then. All right. So, like I said, we're in an air sign right now for the new moon, but that Mercury in Cancer is logic meets emotion. We are here with our mind, and then we also have the Cancer water sign bringing in a lot of emotions. So, communication is going to require some vulnerability, and the stories we tell ourselves are shifting right now. Even inward talk, self-talk to yourself, the stories that you're kind of you're speaking to yourself are shifting. Home, belonging, emotional safety, those are all very strong Cancer placement words. They're going to influence our decisions here. We can't just look at one section of the chart and ignore the rest of it. Everything works together. And so that home, belonging, and emotional safety are definitely going to be big players here during this moon phase. Every sign has a some people call positive and negative. I like to say in the light and in the shadow because some of these things can be helpful at certain times. They're not necessarily bad. Sometimes we need to do some of these shadow side things. But for Gemini specifically, when we're talking about the shadow side, if you're feeling it, especially if you have anything in Gemini, you have anything in Sagittarius, or you have anything in Cancer, you might be feeling overthinking a lot right now. You might feel like gossip is around you, or you're more prone to gossip. Scattered focus. Gemini has so many ideas, so curious, so many possibilities that we don't know where to put our focus sometimes when Gemini is very strong. So we might kind of be all over the place and feeling like I don't really know where to sit and what to do here. Information overload for the same reason. You might be trying to collect as much information as possible that now everything has just become too much. We might also fall into a tendency right now of saying yes to everything. Everything is exciting, everything sounds fun, it sounds engaging, and that can also lead to analysis paralysis. Too many ideas, too many thoughts that we don't end up doing anything at all with all of these wonderful things that are going through our minds right now. So something to ask is, where am I consuming information instead of taking action? New moons are great for taking action, for starting new. And Gemini, we could just be thinking about starting new instead of actually doing it. So I want to pull a card. I have a multitude of decks, but today I pulled the Astrology Oracle card off of my shelf. This is the Astrology Oracle deck by Jennifer Freed. And I'm just going to pull one Oracle card for the collective energy today, just to see kind of what are we feeling on the call, and then what do we need to, yeah, what are we feeling on the call? What do we need to know? So let's see what card we get here. Okay, so we got Mars, Saturn. So this is actually a great help, I think, for all of the energy that we're talking about today. So this is Mars symbol up at the top and Saturn down at the bottom. Mars is all about new direction, drive, taking the action, and Saturn is really about the discipline to follow the action through. So I think that this is a great card to pull on a call where we're setting new intentions. I think that this is going to be really helpful for some of the scattered energy we might be feeling because Mars is really saying, you know what? Let's do it. Let's get this done. And Saturn is going to help make sure it's followed through. Keeping our foot on the gas and saying, you know what? Let's not let up until this is done. Let's get the things that we want. And so I think that that is amazing energy. I'll show this card again if anybody is interested in it. That Mars, Saturn, that great. Love that card. Before we get into just continuing to get our mind flowing, I have some reflection questions here. Might help you kind of narrow down what you want to set your intentions about. Maybe you had like 15 ideas coming into today about what you wanted to set intentions about, and let's kind of narrow down where your thoughts are for this energy specifically. What story about myself am I ready to rewrite? What am I curious about right now? What conversations have I been avoiding? What would happen if I gave myself permission to be a beginner? What knowledge or skill do I want to develop? I think these are great Gemini new moon questions. Um, Gemini is it's the third sign of our zodiac. It's still at the very beginning. And so it is a new energy. So if you want to do something new, start to be a beginner. I think that this energy is very helpful there to develop new skills. Okay, so where is the focus for you? I'm going to go by your zodiac rising sign today. If you do not know your rising sign, feel free to also look at the sun sign when it comes up, and maybe that also feels right to you. But when I do write these kind of horoscope type things, I usually go off of the rising sign. But like I said, we don't all know the birth time. We don't all know our rising sign. So feel free to also look at that sun sign for the focus for you specifically today. So Aries, Aries out there, this is in your third house. So this is about new beginnings around communication, writing, siblings, local community. This new moon is showing up in the natural zodiac where Gemini lives always. So even though you might not be a Gemini, this new moon is kind of living in that Gemini space. And so I think you're kind of double Gemini right now for this new moon. A lot of Gemini feelings about communication, writing, local community, new beginnings. Any Aries out there? Oh, I just realized that my chat box is closed. There we go. Any Aries out there in the that wanna, you don't have to chat if you don't want to. You can write it in the chat or you can always unmute yourself when I ask to. All right. Next up, we have Taurus. Taurus, this is in your second house. So new financial goals and self-worth intentions are going to be there. So things that you value about yourself. You might be feeling, how do I make money? How do I have security? How do I have material security and self-worth security throughout this new moon? That might be extra important to you right now. Gemini rising, this is personal reinvention. Who are you becoming? Gemini's asking for a lot of personal information throughout this. This is first house energy for Gemini. Right on the ascendant is this new moon. So you might be feeling it. It might be more visible to other people that you're feeling this new energy, where some other of us kind of have it in the backside of our zodiac, so it's not as visible to other people, but we still feel it inside of ourselves. Cancer, this is all about healing, rest. You might be feeling the need to retreat a little bit, stay in the house and kind of just lock down the windows, put on a good movie. It's a good time for spirituality and some subconscious patterns, resetting some of those healing work. Sometimes, if that is the energy that's going on right now, it's nice to put on a good movie and pop some popcorn. That sounds really fun. I like when I have 12th house things. Sometimes it keeps you hidden a little too much, but this energy will move on. We're gonna continue through the moon phases, and so this is now. Take advantage of it. Leo. Leo, you're all about friendships, networking, community involvement. This new moon is going through your 11th house. So, Leo, if you're feeling like, hey, my friends are calling me up and I gotta go hang out. Let's make a plan. Let me make the plan. Let me get involved with community a little bit more. Um, what are my dreams as well? 11th house is also, what are you dreaming about? What are your aspirations? Virgo risings out there. This is your 10th house month, new moon. So you might be really focused at your career right now, at your big job, career visibility. You might be getting recognized at your job. Maybe your boss is like, yes, great job. You are doing a great job out there. Maybe promotions, speaking at work, professional goals might be at the front of what's going on because of that air sign. If you're being called to speak at work or do some extra writing at work, I think that that makes a lot of sense for Virgos right now. Libras, you might be wanting to learn a little bit, but like big philosophy things. Maybe it's like, okay, I've been meaning to learn about that big topic. Let me take it on. Now's the chance that I could read that book and have the time to do that. Might also want to travel. Big far travel, like let's go across the country, let's go out of the country. Um, Spirituality might also be important to Libras right now, all about expansion, really trying to expand themselves out into the world, traveling the world. So I don't know if there's any Libras out there that are like, oh yeah, I'm taking a trip. I know I talked to somebody recently and they're like, I'm on the way, I'm taking a trip. So I think that that's fun. Traveling in the summer is always a good time to do. So if you're willing, if you've been like, man, I have been wanting to book that trip, I feel like that energy's coming in. Maybe right now is like, okay, let's book the trip. Let's get online and have the flight and go. The energy is there. Scorpio, this is all about shared resources, intimacy, trust. Really trusting here is a big thing for Scorpios through this. Oh, Libra here, no travel plans yet, but I got accepted to a college program for September. That's awesome, Sarah. The ninth house, that travel, that learning, that is also higher education. So that ninth house is really calling for pushing that in that direction. So that's amazing. Great new moon energy coming in with that college acceptance. Um, Scorpios really trusting, almost kind of like surrendering to the universe a little bit. Shared resources. You might be working with others' money or others' values during this time. Intimacy also might be a big thing right now for you. Sagittarius, relationships and partnerships. You might have a one-on-one relationship, somebody that's very close to you, a spouse, a best friend. Amy, if you don't have this info, that is okay. There are tons of resources to find your sun, moon, and rising, as well as the rest of your chart out there. Let me type a good website that is free in the chart. I mean, in the chat. Uh-oh. Okay, so that should say horoscopes .astroseek.com. That website has free birth charts. If you go on that website and scroll down at the bottom, there is like a place where you can put in your birthday, your time, your birth city, and then it'll calculate a chart for you. It's completely free. You don't have to put in your email or anything. Some websites you do, and that's always not fun to have to do. So that one you don't have to. And if you don't know your birth time, you won't be able to have an accurate rising sign, but your sun sign will still be accurate. So you can always look at that. I know a lot of people don't know their birth time, or even when they look at go try to hunt down their birth certificate, there's no birth time on it for some people. There is a process in astrology called rectification where you can go through and find really important dates, and an astrologer can work with you to kind of narrow down what rising sign you might have if you want to do that at some point, but it's not required to get a lot of information out of your chart. There's so much in there without a birth time. Sagittarius, like I said, we're doing one-on-one relationships and partnerships. So this could be a spouse, this could be a best friend, a close business partner, somebody that you are very close with one-on-one. You might be feeling some new energy with them during this time, some social energy, communicating something with that person. it doesn't just have to be your spouse. I know traditionally the seventh house is like your marriage partner, but I think it's also your best friend, your business partner. It's also open enemies. If you have an open enemy out there and you're needing to have a conversation with them right now during this new moon, that might be actually a really good time to do that with that open enemy. Capricorn, you are focusing on daily routines, your health, habits, really your day to day. What are you doing every day when you wake up, even at your job? Not necessarily big career aspirations like we were talking about earlier, but this is more like once you clock in, what are we doing once we're there? What do I need to do to kind of refocus my health? That's a really good intention if you're trying to set that Capricorns out there to kind of have that new moon energy, maybe help create a new health or habit plan for you during this time. Aquarius, you might be feeling really pushed for creativity, for joy, might even have some romance in there, some self-expression. Aquarius, this is a good time for you to go have some fun. Some new moons are a little heavier for us than others. We all have them in different houses as the year progresses. Right now, yours is to go have some fun on this new moon. So you might want to start a new art project or go hang out and go out somewhere, maybe go on a date with your partner, even a chance for some new self-expression within yourself. And then finally, we have Pisces, the last sign of our zodiac. I always feel bad for Pisces because I have to wait forever for theirs. But Pisces, home, family, your roots, your emotional security, that Mercury shadow that we were talking about, that emotional feeling, you might be feeling this a little stronger than others because your new moon is showing up in that Cancer natural house of the home, of the family, of the roots. And so this new moon might have a little extra emotions attached to it for you, Pisces. I know you don't like to hear that because Pisces are always like, why is everything always emotional for me anyway? But that's not a bad thing this time, thinking about home, thinking about those families and how can you be emotionally secure for yourself? What kind of things can you do? What kind of intentions can you set to help that emotional security? Does anybody have any questions about anything we've talked about so far before we move into the next portion? Alrighty. Oh, yes, I love that. So next we're going to talk about how do we set these intentions. You can really do this whatever way feels right to you, but sometimes I think if you do it this way, I've found that sometimes having a little bit of structure to your intentions helps guide the universe to the direction that you want it to. If we just kind of say whatever and do it whatever way, it kind of leaves room up for interpretation, timing. This is connecting both your conscious brain and your subconscious brain with the universe, with God, with angels, whoever you want to talk to, whoever you believe in, past loved ones, even. Whatever you're connected to here, we're connecting both your conscious brain and your subconscious brain as we set these intentions. So we need to be specific as possible. Keep them flexible because that mutable air sign, so specific but flexible. Um, Present tense. Ooh, Amy, I found my chart without birth time and now I need to learn how to read it. But thank you for the site. Yeah, learning how to read that is its own beast. If you ever have any questions or want to even talk about your chart, feel free to reach out
I
to me.
will. I promise you.
Awesome.
But thank you. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's awesome. I'm sure you're not the only one either who was like, I need to do this. Have,
Katie, I just wanted it's Miriam. I just wanted
oh,
to say something. You were so accurate when it comes to Cancer. I'm so tired of my sign.
we
I
all
we're
have,
so we're so deep.
yeah. That's okay though. I mean, being deep is not a bad thing. I think we all have times where things feel heavier and things feel lighter for each of us in our signs. And right now, that Mercury is just really it's there. And so the communication, the thinking, all of that is going to feel a little heavier than maybe it even typically does.
In my spiritual journey, I'm starting to embrace the fact that, yeah, I want to be more of that fluffy, thinking about travels and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we're gonna always have to come back to our inner work.
Yeah, I think that that is well said from a Cancer person. I think that, yeah, I mean, I think that we can all focus on different things, but I agree. I'm not a Cancer. I'm a Scorpio sun. I don't know if it's also because I have a lot of water in my chart, but I definitely think that inward work is great. It is the way that we grow, and then we can do all those other fun things when we do that too. So,
I
yeah,
thank you.
yeah, absolutely. Um, Setting these intentions, also wanting to make sure we're keeping things in the present tense. Um, if you're telling the universe that you want something, keeping it in the present tense allows the universe and you to work together to say now. If you're saying, I will do this, it's a big question mark of when to both you and whoever you're talking to out there, whether it's your higher self, God, angels, past loved ones. You might then be like, yeah, well, sometime. So some examples here. These are very broad examples, but they're very good examples for the Gemini energy. So you can steal them, you can tweak them if you'd like for yourself. But here are some intentions that are in the present tense that are specific and flexible. I communicate my needs with confidence. I remain open to new perspectives. I trust my voice. I attract meaningful connections. Those are very, very strong Gemini new moon intention settings. You can set an intention about whatever you want to. It does not have to be Gemini related. But sometimes if we're in the canoe and we're trying to paddle down the river, it's easier to go with the current than try to fight against it. And so right now we're in that communication energy, we're in that social energy, we're in that thinking energy. And so sometimes working with that helps get the things that we want a little quicker, a little easier than kind of trying to paddle up the stream. I also have a new moon ritual idea. If you guys are into doing rituals out there, you're like, wow, I'm a big ritual person. I'm a big doer. Gemini is an air sign. If you've been to a meetup before, if you've heard me talk about any moon signs, full moon, new moon, whatever, you've probably heard me say that if you're gonna work with the energy, I like to work with whatever element is a part of it. And so Gemini is an air sign. It's all about thinking, writing, communicating. And so if you're wanting to do something like a ritual during this time, I would recommend speaking, writing, uh, thinking, and actually putting pen to paper or actually putting voice out into the universe, speaking out loud. So this is an idea. This is a letter to your future self. You will need pen, paper, candle, if this is something that you're wanting to do. So what you're going to do is write in groups of three. I think three works really well. It's a great number. It's also the third sign of the zodiac. So if we're working with three for Gemini, write three things you're ready to learn, three conversations you want to have, three qualities you want to embody. You can do this list form, you can do this story form, paragraph form, whatever feels right. But I do highly recommend putting a pen to a paper for Gemini new moon. I think that it just is that much more powerful when you do that. After you do that, you fold the paper, light a candle, and say something. Say something along the lines of this. You can actually say this, or you can make it the way that you feel is right for you. I welcome new ideas, new perspectives, and new opportunities. May my words align with my truth and my curiosity guide me forward. So you can even write that at the bottom of your letter if you'd like, but I would definitely light a candle and say that just to kind of close out and seal that ritual. Then you're going to keep the letter until November. In November, we have a full moon in Gemini. So right now we have a new moon in Gemini. On November 24th of this year, we'll have a full moon in Gemini. Good time to get back out that letter. Did anything on that letter? Are we doing better at some of those things that we wanted to do better at? Did anything that we wrote on that letter happen? A good check-in time from the completion of that sign. Right now we're in that new moon in Gemini, and then on November 24th, we'll have that full moon, and it'll kind of complete out some of the things that we're in right now. So, idea for new moon ritual. Anybody thinking that they'll do something like this, or yeah? It's a really cool idea. I also like that it's not burning something in fire. Like I said, working with fire is so important when it's a fire sign. But I feel like so many times when you're like trying to find rituals online or like reading about rituals, I feel like everything's always burning a piece of paper. And I love that. But like, I need some new ideas. Like, a letter sounds different enough to me. So, next we're going to take some time to write some intentions down on paper while the energy is still here, while we're all still holding this space open. So if you have paper, go ahead and get that out. Start writing. You can write as many as you want, but what I'm thinking is that if the more things you write, the less things that might happen. You can do long-term intentions, short-term intentions, but I tend to try to keep my list to about 3 to 5 things. It's okay if you're still writing, but I wanted to know if anybody out there has anything that they wanted to share that they've written. You go ahead, and if you want, you can unmute yourself and share.
I have been getting information a lot in the last month, really last 3 weeks. And I had a health emergency 2 months ago. So first is find my financial security, trust my expanding belief in my power source, because it's what brought me through everything, and to continue to heal my body for a comfortable, long life.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
And I'm already getting some information, so I loved what you said about they don't always have to be new.
hmm
They can be what you've already started to get and work with it. I've always thought of intentions as new, so this is really helpful.
Yeah, definitely. Sometimes we already kind of know what we want to. what we want to kind of set those intentions about. So sometimes it comes to us and it's just like a download and it's like, all right, let's do it. Sometimes it's kind of already been there, but we just need that extra push from ourselves, from our higher selves to kind of get it done. Anyone else?
Yeah, I wrote that one of the things I wrote is I'll speak with truth and love to myself. That's something that I think try to practice a lot, and it's an easy thing to talk about, like especially if you're just on this path. But I was speaking to a friend, and she brought it up, and it's like, oh yeah, I almost forgot about that, right? And it's so easy to, whether it's like internally or just quickly responding or reacting in conversation, to not speak lovingly to yourself.
Hmm.
So.
Yeah, that's amazing. Great, great use of the Gemini with that for sure. For qualities, I want to embody kindness, courage, and confidence. Sarah, that's great. Getting up with the sunrise. Oh, that's amazing. Being able to look out. Peace, clarity, health. Those are all great things, Bridget. I trust my spiritual and healing journey. Yeah, that trust word. We can still share intentions, but in the last few minutes of today, I wanted to also just leave the floor open if anybody wanted to talk more about the new moons, anything specifically that's going on that they're like, maybe the group on the call has an idea. So just wanted to kind of leave that the last kind of 10 minutes or so open for that.
Um, I thought you mentioned something about doing a journey or something. Is that something we're going to do, or is that, I mean, sort of just to focus on what we just
So,
said?
yeah, after we do sharing now, then to close out,
Oh,
we'll
okay.
all do that together. Yeah.
Great, great. That always
Yeah.
helps me.
Yeah, for sure. Same here. And then also to go back to the work day or
Cool.
whatever else you were doing, it helps kind of
Yeah.
close out what we were doing. Absolutely. I felt like a fairly powerful new moon this past weekend. It felt like, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So, hello. I'm Megan. I'm struggling a little with setting intentions because my brain is kind of going everywhere at once. Uh, I recently began teaching spiritual subjects on a couple of networks and then started my own group. So there's a lot of communication happening and ideas, and I'm struggling to create a statement for how I'm going to navigate that.
Hmm. That makes
I was
sense.
just wondering if you had any suggestions.
I think my suggestion, I think it makes a lot of sense. I think that it sounds like there's a lot of really cool things going on, but also that Gemini energy can get us to kind of think and think and think, and sometimes it has a
Mhm.
hard time of feeling where it wants to be placed. I would just start really small. I think just the next first thing that you think of, and then the small thing. It doesn't have to be like, I want this to build to this, or then I have this idea and I gotta go do this thing. And then your list is overwhelming, or like you said, you can't make a statement. Maybe just the next thing that you're wanting to do, making a post in the group, um or just something really small, like, oh, I'm gonna get this one thing set up, and maybe then everything else will help kind of follow in behind
Okay.
that. But sometimes it's hard
Yeah,
to,
I
yeah,
actually have two things, but that does help narrow it down. Just making a post, one
yeah,
post,
one
not
post.
not like what I'm planning for the future, but just my next post and speaking to the admin of one of my groups so that I can figure things out for a course.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds great. Yeah, big dreams sometimes are great. And it's good to have them and have that in the background, but to take the action on it, just break it down. Break it down.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I trust the process. Yeah, trusting the processes. Let me scroll, make sure I.
I have a quick question, if that's
Yeah.
okay. This is Bridget. I've been under the weather with some medication problems and vestibular problems, and it's crazy, but I'm trying to figure all that out. We're kind of getting to the answer, but what I've been feeling lately is that I can't, and this is all like being on the wrong medication, but I feel like I can't like feel deeply enough like I did when I first started to like work on manifesting and meditation and peace and learn all this kind of stuff.
Hmm.
So there's times like last night where I was like, okay, new moon, and I didn't feel like I could put all my energy in there and really speak to the universe the way I wanted to because of how I was feeling in this block of emotions. But am I still getting, I mean, I was still talking and I was still like, okay, this is, is that still working, or do you really have to be able to like block what's happening in your mind 100%? Does that make sense?
I think it's still working. I think that there are different phases of all of our lives for different reasons where we feel more connected or less connected. But by you still going out and doing those things and still with that intention of what you're doing, I think it's still definitely working. I think that there's different times of the year for me specifically where I feel much more connected to the universe, like we're actually talking to each other, versus like where I feel like, man, I'm just going through the motions. Is this doing anything?
Right.
I definitely think it still works. I think that you're still doing it, and we all can't be like the perfect spiritual path being at all times. We're humans, and so I think that having that fluctuation is a very human thing. I think that I think it's still working though. And Sarah also in the chat says, I say it still works. Um,
Awesome.
I've
Thank
done
you.
every which ritual or magic through every emotion, says Sarah. Yeah, I think that I mean, even my journaling, like there are different times where I'm like very into the spiritual journaling and I feel very connected. And then every so often it kind of dissipates a little bit. And then I'm like, okay, no, it's still there. Like I still love it. I'm still in it. But yeah,
Hmm.
I think it's just being human.
And having the patience to get
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah,
Okay.
the
Thank you.
patience, yeah, absolutely. And the perseverance,
Hmm.
to keep going, even, and then it'll come back. Like I feel like
Yeah.
the universe has a way of coming back always. It's never gone.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to do our little closing here. So, we're gonna close out from today. If anybody has anything else that they wanted to add in, before we do that, feel free real quick. I don't want to, I know sometimes I'm the last one too in groups. Okay, so, um, through all these intentions, through everything that we've done today, through the energy that we kind of raised together, we learned together. At the end of the day, you don't need all the answers. Your only job is to remain curious enough to discover them. Gemini wants to remain curious, and that's just, I guess, my ask to you is just to remain curious enough to discover what's out there. What new possibility becomes available when you stop assuming you already know the outcome? So if you would like to, if you have your paper with your intentions, you want to put your hands on it and your feet back firmly on the ground. If you want to close your eyes if you feel inclined, and just think about what you wrote. Think about what it means to you. Breathe in and out. And then if you are able and would like, take your shoulders and put them up by your ears, shoulders back, down. Let's do it one more time. Up to your ears, back and down. Just kind of give yourself a little bit of love, um, and feeling like when you go back to your day, hold this space, but also know that you don't have to keep this energy wide open. We can close this uh, and set those intentions and let them go with the universe and go back to our day. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Uh, just in case anybody is not on Meetup or is wanting to find me at other places, I have a QR code here with all sorts of fun links to find me on Instagram, website, Meetup, whatever it is. And then I hope to see you all at our full moon uh, meetup in 2 weeks. And thank you all so much for being here and sharing the space and raising this energy together. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. This was great.
Mhm.
Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much.
Thank
Katie, I
you.
don't see your QR code.
Oh,
Did you put that in the chat?
1 second. Let me reshare this. I had it. I just stopped sharing my screen. That's probably why. You see it on the shared screen, the right under stay
Oh, I
connected.
see it. Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
This was amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you all.